Good morning, Dragons. I'm Joanna, and it's Wednesday, November 15th, 2023. Join me as we delve into the latest updates and insight on news you need to know. Today we'll be talking about Thanksgiving saving tips. The U.S. strikes on Syria as the Israel-Hamas war rattles the region and the New York mayor whose devices are being looked into by the FBI. Thanksgiving is around the corner, and if you're hosting a dinner this year, get ready for some sticker shock. This year's feast is going to cost you more. But with some thought and effort, you can save money. In today's Consumer Watch, Cole Higgins has 5 tips to keep this year's feast under budget.
It's the Super Bowl of all the food holidays, Thanksgiving, and this year's feast is likely going to cost you more. Although turkey prices are down, side dishes are expected to be more expensive this year compared to last year. That's according to Wells Fargo's new Thanksgiving report.
That is the holiday. We clutter it up with so much other stuff, and we spend money until we're blue in the face.
So what can you do to save? Jessica Allen has these 5 tips to trim the costs. The first step is to create a budget and shop early.
Be realistic. What amount are you comfortable spending on a meal or your portion of the meal that you're contributing to the family dinner, and then stay within it.
2, trim the menu. Cut out the sides that are not huge hits at the dinner table. Choose wisely to avoid overspending on items that only get a few bites.
So can you go for meatless appetizers? Can you go for some beautiful, colorful vegetable or fruit side dishes that save you a little bit of money at the grocery store?
Number 3, go potluck. Experts recommend you ask guests to bring the desserts or sides. That way you can split the cost. Number 4, shop smart. Consider buying items in bulk and start looking for deals now.
When you start early enough, you've got time to piece together your meal from this place and this place and this place.
And finally, ditch the pre-made and pre-cut food. Consider buying those fruits and veggies and cutting them yourself. It's a bit more work, but it will help you avoid high price markups. For Consumer Watch, I'm Cole Higgins.
The U.S. has conducted a fresh round of strikes in Syria against targets linked to Iran. This is the 3rd time the U.S. has struck in the last region within the last 3 weeks. CNN's Oren Lieberman has more.
The U.S. once again carried out strikes in eastern Syria, targeting facilities used by Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, marking the 3rd time in 3 weeks that such strikes have been carried out. This time, according to Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, the U.S. targeted a training facility as well as a safe house in eastern Syria used by the IRGC and affiliated groups. This marks the 3rd time in 3 weeks we've seen the U.S. carry out strikes against the IRGC and its affiliated groups, and that's because of the ongoing attacks the U.S. has seen on its forces in Iraq and Syria. As of the latest update on Thursday, the U.S. has seen about 46 attacks against its forces, mostly drone and rocket attacks in Iraq and Syria. Those attacks, according to the Pentagon, have resulted in 56 injuries to U.S. forces, mostly minor traumatic brain injuries and minor injuries. It is because of that the U.S. once again felt the need to act, trying to calibrate the response to send a message of deterrence to Iran while also not escalating the situation. Austin called these precise strikes and says they'd been directed by President Joe Biden. We saw the U.S. target weapons and storage facilities over the course of the past several weeks, again calibrating those responses to try to avoid a further escalation. The U.S. has been watching very closely what's happening with the conflict in Gaza between Israel and Hamas, but it has tried to separate that from the rest of the region. Still, it hasn't been successful in that effort, as groups affiliated with Iran have continued to carry out attacks on U.S. forces. The U.S. responding to those, trying to send a message to Iran not to attack again, while also trying to make sure the situation doesn't escalate unnecessarily and the conflict in Gaza spreading farther in the region. Oren Lieberman, CNN in Tel Aviv.
And that's the latest from the Middle East. As the situation unfolds, the U.S. is closely monitoring the Gaza conflict, attempting to prevent unnecessary escalation in the region. Shine up your bundt pan and heat up your oven because Wednesday is National Bundt Cake Day. This delicious observance is held every year on November 15th. The dessert gets its distinctive form from the shape of the bundt pan. According to the nationaldaycalendar.com, the mold of the pan was inspired by a traditional European fruitcake. Cookware company Nordic Ware popularized the bundt mold design in the 1950s and 60s and trademarked the name bundt. So, whether you're a seasoned baker or a novice in the kitchen, National Bundt Day is the perfect excuse to whip up a delightful treat that's both visually stunning and delicious. Share the joy by inviting friends and family to indulge in this timeless dessert, and remember to capture the moment with photos to be able to commemorate your baking masterpiece. New York City Mayor Eric Adams says he has turned over electronic devices to the FBI to cooperate with an investigation. A person familiar with the matter says agents looking into fundraising practices served him a warrant for phones and an iPad. The mayor says he has nothing to hide and expects his staff to comply with any type of probe. His campaign attorney says Adams has not been accused of any wrongdoing. He says the mayor's team discovered an individual had acted improperly and proactively reached out to investigators. The FBI has declined to comment. Rudolph might not be the only flying deer this year. Video shows one leap over two cars and land in a pickup truck in New Jersey. This phenomenal jump isn't the end of the unlikely story, as CNN Gene Moose reports.
13-year-old Troy Westcott was outside his Mays Landing, New Jersey home shooting hoops with his dog Parker when he heard rustling in the leaves. The dog spotted the deer first. But just as spectacular as the leap was this coincidence. The 2007 Chevy Silverado pickup was for sale. And at the exact same moment the prospective buyer pulled up to cinch the deal, the deer slammed into the pickup.
What did he say?
He was just shocked. He was like, oh, wow.
Troy's dad was likewise stunned.
Oh my God!
But the buyer wasted no time in asking,
how about a little break on the price for the damage to the truck?
The dent left by the young buck saved the buyer $1,000 off the asking price. The seller started cracking jokes.
We think that the deer was trained. I said, man, I know y'all brought that deer with you.
As the video went viral, commenters had two questions.
People are asking, is the deer okay?
He seems to be okay, spotted on a neighbor's trail camera.
People are asking if the truck is still for sale.
Nope, sold. But it took a flying deer to make a pickup less dear by $1,000. Jeannie Mose, CNN, New York.
Who knew playing hoops could lead to such dearly good deals? Alongside today's producer Jackson Hoxie and the intro to broadcasting class, I'm Joanna, and this has been the news you need to know.